Audio CD DIY house cleansing. A guide to do-it-yourself house cleansing. Get rid of unwanted guests, spirits and haunting. Okay, the first thing we need to look at is, before we go into any home, is really the background information. You need to find out what's actually going on. Now sometimes if it's your own home, it's not too bad, because you start to know little signs and little things that's going on. But if you're doing it for somebody else, then what I first would find out is exactly what is going on, what is happening in the place. Now this might sound a little bit like, well, of course, but there's a lot of things you need to look into first. And the first thing is the actual story behind what is going on. Because depending on who is there, depending on what spirit is there, depending on whether it's family or whether it is actually a malicious spirit, will depend on what needs doing. And so first of all, you really need to find out how that spirit has come about into the place. Because once you've found the story, then you can actually cleanse the place a lot easier. Because a lot of the situations is that a lot of people have got ley lines and vortexes and stuff in their house that they don't even know about, that live day by day. And it's little subtle signs, little information that you get from the people that you start to pick up on, that you'll know straight away before you even walked into the place what activity that you have. For example, if I know that people are seeing things out of the corner of the eye, they're getting dark patches, there's some cold spots, then it tends to be that there's a ley line involved, that the spirits are coming in at night, draining the energy, doing things, and then disappearing back into the portal. And so they're not being detected, because the less they're being detected, the more they're gaining the energy. So really it is, you need to find the story behind it, and also why you've attracted it. What triggered them? What's made them come out of the light? What's made them want to cause havoc in your place? Walk around, get the picture, get the feel of the place, get to understand where all the hot spots are, find out where all the bad parts of the place are. That's the key. Then target the main areas first, because there's no point you cleansing the whole place and then you've left a portal open, or you left a mirror open upstairs that something's just walking in and out, because then it doesn't matter if you've cleansed the place to head to foot, these things will still get in. Obviously if the place is cleansed, they're not going to be so excited, but over a period of time they'll start to work their way back as the place becomes more negative as you bring energy in. Okay, this may take a few goes, but as you start to go around the place, you'll get messages yourself, you'll start to find little triggers, and you'll start to find little places where you'll feel the problems and stuff as you go. So go by your senses, because that's very important. And then really it's about opening the lines of communication so that you can actually start to understand and start to find out, because sometimes they'll just hide from you, sometimes they'll want to talk to you, and there's little things that you'll get, tingling effects, or you might feel the pain. And if it's a spirit where she's just walking up and down a certain area because something bad has happened to them, they're not really going to notice you about. So then the senses are very important. These are all things that I'm going to help you through. Okay, so let's look at the story to why they're there. There's many items that we can look at. The first is, why have you attracted them? A lot of the times now, because people are developing, their energies are getting better, and spirit world are noticing that they're able to communicate. So a lot of the times it could just be that you're showing signs that you're a white beacon and that they can actually talk to you. So if you're busy and you're not noticing them, then they're going to do little bits and pieces to start opening you up. You know, we've all got like a trigger point in ourselves. Mine is they tend to tap me on the shoulder. Quite easy, I know, but If you don't recognise the sign, you might just think, oh, what's that on the back of my neck? Or, oh, what's that tingling down my arm? What's that goosebump? Or, what's my stomach rumbling for? These are all little signs. And once you find out your trigger point, then you know that they're just trying to open you up so they can actually communicate with you. So this is one of the things. Also, if it's a family member, it's a totally different effect. It could be a warm feeling. It could be little things that they do around the house. They move stuff. They play music. They move pictures. There's all sorts of things. So really, we need to find out why you've actually attracted them. Normally, if a friend has died, or you know somebody, or there's always things happening around you. So death tends to trigger a lot of people thinking about the other side. So that also can let the spirit world know that you're also thinking about it. Paranormal shows, scary films, there's all sorts. So you need to find out why you're attracted. Children are so sensitive nowadays that they basically can sense and see. So, and I know we all go on about imaginary friends and this, that and the other, which a lot of times they are, but there's things that children come out with you just know they're just not. So, and they're also, but a lot of the family do come and visit children. But also, if a person has gone over on the other side is looking for a child, then they might accidentally think that your child looks like their child. So the story is important, because then that we can help to show the spirit world that this isn't their child, and help them to reunite with their child, or the reasons why they haven't moved over. So we need to find the emotion that's kept them here, because the spirit will still hold on to emotion. They still, when they've moved over, they still hold on to it, and that's what keeps them to the earth. Because if they were lighter in energy, they tend to move on. It's only the emotion, or the problem, or that they've done something and want to change, or want to contact somebody, or that is the reason why they stay here. Okay. Also, try and find out when it first triggered. And by thinking about that, it could be you've decorated the place, and so you've changed the outlay of the place. Now, if it's an old spirit going back to like 18th, 19th century, it tends to be that they like their home the way it is, and it's only when you've changed the energy of the place, or you've decorated, that you've suddenly woke them up to the fact that you're around in their house. So sometimes, they're quite happy to go about thinking that they're in their own world, and it's only that they've recognised you because you've actually done something to the place, or you've moved something, or you've altered it. So this could be new babies also bring a lot of energy into the place. So that tends to be family that come with new babies. Family death, as we said before. So try and find. Also, it could be an event you've been to. Could be anything. It's so many links. You could have brought a new furniture in from a pub. The amount of times that somebody's brought some furniture in and it's got a spirit attached because they like the furniture, or it reminded them of the place that they used to go to, and just has an energy trapped in like furniture, is unbelievable. There's quite a lot of that actually happens, which you wouldn't think so. So you got to look for all these like key. So there's like, you can feel scared, there's cold chills, there's spots, there's cobwebs. Tap's not working, that's a prime one for family especially. Electrical stuff tends to be negative, so negative energies cause electrical problems. I'm not saying that if your toaster breaks down all the time then it's just that, but I'm just saying things start to go wrong because of the negative energy. Like I say, songs played and stuff is family. Hiding objects, certain things that go missing can be children. Spirit children. So that is another key area to notice. Also, children bring children home as well. I have a lot of that, which is quite amazing. Smells as well. If you start to get different smells, then that's sometimes family. But smells can happen in other ways as well. I won't go into too much detail on the smells, because if you get like a metallic taste, that tends to be blood, but you're not going to really get them. More to do with like the paranormal stuff. I don't have that many metallic tastes around people's, so thankfully there's not a lot of blood in people's house. If you just even just somebody watching you sometimes at the corner of your eye, these are all things that just trigger that things are happening and that there's a story to be told. Right, when you walk around, I always walk around with my hands open. They still can mask over your hands so you can't always feel certain areas, so be careful of this. But walk around with your hands open. If the energy feels like it's nice and flowing, you're alright. If it feels like it's going too quick, that's a sign. If it feels like you're pushing, that's a sign. These are all signs of ley lines and portals. Cold spots as well. So walk around, because you'll get a sense of where it feels nice and where it feels not, and where it feels negative. You know, it's like the old when you walk in and you smell the coffee and you feel, oh, this feels a nice place. You know, your senses are enough that you know where this place is not feeling right. Obviously there's areas that you don't often go into also. These can be just filled up with rubbish and stuff. That can cause negative spots as well. Just be careful of those. And also outside of the house is somewhere just to check sometimes, because we always think it's just inside, but also there can be negative lines outside as well. A lot of people do try and do stuff when they're drunken, or medication, or tend to find that people that gone through a period of depression and this, that and the other can cause negative energies in houses, trapped in houses. So sometimes, just if it's been a bad luck or the odd moments that's happened in the house, then it can be trapped in a wall, and you can touch the wall with, and often you will feel, if a house feels not so warm and inviting and happy and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who say to me, that's strange, but it is. A house will feel sad. If it's had a lot of things happen to it, or it doesn't feel like it's been loved or tended, it seems to have trapped more of a negative energy in the walls and everything. So even by touching, you can feel, and you might even get odd images of events that's happened through what we call psychometry. If you want to check to see if the place has got any spirits, then what I would suggest is to send in a blue ray around the place. Now, the best way to do this is, it's like if you close your eyes and imagine blue or white, like ray of light coming from your eyes as though you're seeing, and then it's going all through all the rooms and around. It's just like a long straight line, like the rays of a sun, but just in one line, going all the way forward and round the place. You can open your eyes and still see it, and it might just be a clear line that's going round. Just the knowing of it is enough. But by doing this, and if you see any areas where it feels like it just dips down, or it bends, like it's going round a shape, that's a sign that there's a spirit. If it dips down and like disappears, that's a sign it's going into like a ley line or a portal. If it just seems to spread in different directions, these are all different ways of picking up if there's spirit, or there's hot spots and this, that and the other, or problem areas. So scan the whole building first of all, and you'll often find that spirit will try and get away. But if you go from one room and keep spreading through the whole of the place, so that you have gone through every room and then seal it as you go, so you imagine that the room is being sealed as you go so that they can't, and you push them into one area, then you can make sure that you keep them in one area and able to spot who's there. Okay. Cleansing techniques. Okay. Right, cleansing portals, ley lines, vortexes. Once you've spotted a ley line in your home, and the most I've ever had is probably 2 in a home, they tend to show up as cold spots, can be warm sometimes, and they seem to be that when you push your hand onto the actual energy of a line, it either you can feel it hard to push or it goes quite quickly. Now, by putting your both hands out and walking, you can test with your left hand and your right hand the difference, and if one hand feels different to the other, then often the one hand will show up that there's probably a ley line. If one hand is tingling or just feels like a cold on your hand, and as you're walking along it goes all the way along, it can change in temperature, but often it means that there's like a ley line. A neutral ley line is quite nice to have in the house. It's just free flowing energy that's flowing through the house, but it can affect electrical goods and one thing or another. It's only really when it gets negative that it starts to become a problem, because it's when it's negative that it starts to affect and it opens up portals. And when we have portals opened up, that's when we have a direct link to the other world. And it's an easy way for them just to walk in and out. Because a lot of the time spirits have to be invited into your home, or they're already there, or you've brought them in with you. But still, you have got to have brought or had some connection for them to actually come in. Okay. So once you've used the old hand techniques, you've walked around with your hands open up and you felt a bit of a chill, or you felt a bit that it's pushing or it's gone too quick. These are all little signs that you have got a ley line, and you might just sense it's around in certain areas. Also, you need to go all the way along the line, so you can check it outside if you want to, or you might go into other rooms. It just seems to be one long line. Also, it might go upstairs, so you need to check upstairs, because it's not just about in one line. It's also, but you can have a polluted upstairs and you can have a fine downstairs. Quite strange, really. But also remember this for when cleansing, because you have to do both rooms. It's not just one area. Okay, brilliant. So to cleanse a portal, right then, basically you can do this on your own. It takes quite a bit of energy, so I would do it. I would drink plenty of water before I do this to make sure, and plenty of water afterwards as well. But basically it's a simple process, but it's all to do with the visualization, and that is why I've included the extra product at the end, because this is really is important, because this is where you have to switch off the mind and you have to focus and not let anything get in your way. Okay, so if you wanted to check beforehand just to make sure that it's negative, if you did get a quartz crystal, but I'm going to go into more detail on the quartz side, you can actually have a little scan and it would reveal, or you could see little mists or little like water effects start to show. This is a sign that there's spirit present. Okay, so stand close to where you think the ley line. The ley line could be probably shoulder widths, a bit longer apart, going in a line. So stand just in front one side of the ley line. Hold your hand out straight with your hands facing the line going across. Okay, now I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine a time in your life where you felt the most love. For me, it's for when I first picked my son up and held him in my arms. You can also imagine tree roots going into the bottom of the ground, connecting to the source of the energy as well. and having the source of love that way. But any time in your life where you felt unconditional love, where you didn't need anything, where you just felt that magic moment, profound moment, or where you just felt at peace. Peace is another good one, but love is the key. So imagine yourself with this beautiful moment where you just felt this ultimate love. And now you're going to imagine that this love is in your body and it's going through your hands and into the line. Start it up by building it up, with it getting stronger and stronger. Imagine a big ball of love in front of you, and as it gets bigger and bigger, imagine it going upwards and then going sideways. You can feel it cleansing the line as it goes. And as it's cleansing the line, you can feel the peace that starts to emerge. Keep going until you sense it's gone all the way down the line, all the way up, and it's cleansed every bit of it. Don't miss any point. Keep going until you feel at peace. Okay, once you've done that, check the line. Do the same again. Put your hand in the ley line, hand without, and walk along. And it should be just nice and free flowing, and you will see a difference. So it's amazing how people say that is impossible. How I couldn't push that energy, and now it's just nice and free flowing. And you will see what balance does to a ley line. It is quite, especially if it's been negative as well, quite amazing. Okay, now dealing with vortexes. Vortexes is a different thing. Very hard to pick up, vortexes are. But it tends to be that if you've got your hands out, now you can either hand your hands out straight in the air, as though like you're doing patty cakes, or you can have it down as you're walking around. Try all sorts. And if your hand starts to feel as though the energy's being drawn from your hand to the middle of the floor, then often there's a vortex. Vortexes is created from the olden days. People used to bury stuff in the ground, or witches used to go around in a circle, and they created them, pray into the ground. There's druids, there's all sorts of people that used to do sacrifices, all sorts of things. So vortexes can be created. Even emotional children can create vortexes, and it just feels like the energy being sapped in. It also can go straight up into the air, which is a new experience I found the other day, and so the balance is needed. Go by your senses. But love, again, the same as what you just did, is the same. It might also need a balancing effect. If there's a lot of warmth there, then maybe you could do with just sealing it with a bit of water or a bit of ice, just to seal it. It depends on what they're feeling, but the love should seal it, and it should cleanse it. Vortexes take a little bit longer than ley lines, I'm afraid to say, but there are other areas where obviously spirit can come through. Once you've sealed those up with white light, sealed those up, then you can get to doing the cleansing of the place. Now I just love this bit. This is called nature cleansing, and I absolutely, the effect it has and the peace it brings, it just brings natural order to the house. It just brings so much love, so much peace, so much harmony, and you just feel at one. It is quite an effect. Okay, so need to get a bit of water down you, relax and chill out. Okay, maybe even play some nice music, some relaxing music, and I want you to sit there, feet firmly on the ground. Okay, you can close your eyes for this event if you want to. So now you either can have a picture, you can get a picture off the internet, or what you want you to do is imagine yourself at a waterfall. Okay, so close your eyes and think of a waterfall. Even if you just feel like you can see an energy of a waterfall just coming down, then that is enough. It's not actually seeing a waterfall. Too many people try and focus dead hard and they close their eyes and I can't see it. Doesn't matter. It's just the thought of the energy of the waterfall that's important. So just imagine that you can feel it, sense it, use your 5 senses. So let's do it. So you can just the spray of the water, the smell of the grass, the freshness, the power. Just imagine this beautiful waterfall. Okay. So now we're going to imagine the energy of the waterfall in your hand. We're going to open your eyes in the room. I'm just going to imagine all that energy, all that water coming out of your hands, going onto the floor. Aim it down to the floor, and it just spreads, and it spreads all up the wall, the ceiling, and it goes. Try one room at a time to start off with, just to see the effect, so you can test it to see what it does like in other rooms. So imagine this water, and it coming about 5 or 6 inches off the wall, and you just feel it flowing down and flowing. Oh, it's an amazing effect. I can even feel it in my room now. It's wonderful. And the more intense you make it, the more you feel it, and the more it's cleansing the whole room and making it feel. Then you can imagine the sun shining bright into the room, cleansing the water and cleansing the room, and make that intense and beautiful. I like you sunbathing, and you can feel it. Oh, it's beautiful. And then feel the wind going round, swishing all the way around, and making the room feel nice and balanced and flowing. You know, take your time with this. Really feel, sense it, feel it. You know, use all your senses and really make it so that eventually you'll be able to do it just like that. It'll be just automatically that you'll be doing it, and that will increase the power, because then you'll not have to use the 5 senses. It'll just be automatic. You'll think of water and it'll be like, you'll think of the sun and it'll be like. But at first it's going to take a little bit of time, a bit of work to build it up. Obviously I've been doing it for a few years now, and so it's just automatic, but I still have to remember that obviously I'm trying to teach people to do it. Then imagine a big fireplace with the fire coming in and making the room feel nice and warm. And then the moon, the energy of the moon flowing into the room, shining its bright and making the room wonderful. And then we're going to go to the last bit, and this is the important bit, and this is the trees, because the source of the trees is the balance. The tree is what makes us grounded. So imagine the trees, roots going into the ground and trees sprouting up into the room and becoming one. If you want to bring nature in as well, if you like a few bunnies coming in and whatever you want to bring in, you can do that. That's not a problem. That's up to you. Whatever you feel that you want to bring in, flowers, whatever, but the feeling of the room will be changed. Right, go into the next room and check the walls. Check to see the feeling of the walls. Then come back into your room. Just hold your hands about 4 or 5 inches away from the wall and see what happens to your hands. You might get a tingling effect, you might start to get a warm effect, you might just feel, and push your hand backwards and forward, and you might find a bit of resistance. That's the energy that you have created by what you've done. It's quite amazing that, you know, you can do that by just imagining energy. When I found out to do this, was just an unbelievable effect that I've had on many houses by doing this. Okay, brilliant. Now if you wanted to, you can seal the room, but we were going into protection and sealing later. Okay, right, next part is if you want to use crystal cleansing. I love crystals. I use crystals all the time, and I find them wonderful. They certainly are, make a big difference. Now with crystals you can program them. You could stick 4 crystals in a corner of the room facing inwards if you just wanted to protect one room. Say for example you've got the children and they're getting a lot of activity. You can program in crystals. Quartz crystals are the purest form and the best. So you can stick 4 points in the corner, don't have to be expensive, and program each one to put a white layer protection in the room, pointing into the middle, protect. If you wanted to do the whole house, you could point them outwards in the corner of each room and do it that way. Now also you can take one of them and go around each wall and imagine, like we said before, the love, and the crystal will resonate the energy through you and resonate in the wall, and it'll clear all the residue and put love into the wall. And that is amazing. You go by room, you can actually do it a whole wall at a time of the whole house, so you can go to each wall and do it, but do every room and you'll see the effect that it has. Putting love into your place is amazing, really is. So crystals are also amazing to use, and that will make a big difference to your place, because that will get rid of all the residue and all the embedded negativity that's built over years and years. It takes a bit of time, that's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end, because you will feel the difference in the place. Unbelievable. Okay, brilliant. Open lines of communication. By opening the lines of communication, you can find out the story to why they are here. There's different ways to do this. If you have the ability, or you're psychic, or you're a medium, then you can probably tune in to find the information. I have various ebooks on my website, and I shall include this with this package. But if you don't think that you have the ability, then to be quite honest with you, everybody has the ability. It's all about intuition and gut feelings. And the more that we're open to listening to spirit, the more we can actually communicate. So even if you just want to do it in your head, or you want to do it out loud, then introduce yourself. Ask questions. Why are you here? What is the reason that you want my place? Take charge. You are in charge of your place. How can I help? You know, all these sort of questions will start to form a link. Even find a quiet room to sit and talk. And, you know, even situation, was it you doing that the other night? Did you tap the other night? Was it you moving that object? This will open the lines of communication and know that you are actually talking to them, and that they can talk to you. They may answer back with a tingle, a knock. They might have moved an object. You might feel a cold chill, goosebumps, stomach rumbles. There's all sorts of ways that they can communicate. And so by opening the lines, you're actually starting to understand why. Once you found out the story, this will help them to clear the emotion. And once they've cleared the emotion, you can actually then help them to move on. And this is the key. Because unless they're able to tell the story, and you're able to show them the big picture, and often it is that because of what they perceived was their actions, what they thought that they had done had an effect on their family, or they couldn't actually see their family, or before they died something happened that triggered them. They kept reenacting the actual death. I've met a lot of suicide cases where the reason they did it, they just got so consumed and they couldn't see anything around them, they couldn't see what was going on, they got so embroiled in this little world of their own that they couldn't think of anything else, and they didn't really want to take their life. It just got so much from them that in the end they did. And so then their guilt and their emotion, and they're looking for the family, and they want to know about their family, and they're so embroiled in it that they're unable to find out. And so by able to helping them to understand the family, what happened, or the situation, you're able then to open them up to releasing and then moving them on. because everything happens for a reason. And so it is very important to get the big picture, or to get the story of why, what happened, and to help them to clear and tell the story. And most of the time, that's it really. Just to really help them to communicate. The tools that can be used. Okay, let's go into those. Use your 5 senses. A lot of the times people go, oh, I've got a pain in the side of my back. Person could have been stabbed. Oh, my chest. Oh, I feel like I can't breathe. Could be in a fire. You know, all these sort of things are them showing you. If you close your eyes, they might show you a picture. You might touch the wall. You know, if it did actually happen in your place, you might touch the wall. They might even, you might even trigger an actual see a scene of what happened, or they could show you a picture of what happened. You get a feeling or just a knowing that something bad happened. These are all the senses that come into play, and so you can actually help the people to release that, because by making you feel the emotions, they're releasing some of it as well. So stomach rumbles, all these sort of things are just letting you know. You can even put a candle out and just program the candle to say, Spirit world, show me what is yes, and it'll flicker a certain way. And then Spirit world, show me what was no, and it'll flicker. And then you can ask questions. That's another way. Even tapping. It takes a lot of energy to tap, so there's got to be a lot of emotion involved, but 1 for yes, 2 for no. That's another way. If you want to get into glasswork, glasswork's fascinating. You need a few people for that, but it is fascinating. As long as you've got a table, as long as you've got a glass, like a brandy glass, it's not too heavy, put your fingers on the top, not too heavy, show them the spirit world, yes in a round circle, and no for stop. Imagine white light going into glass to boost the energy of the glass, and then ask all sorts of questions, but try and get direct questions, because if you ask 2 questions or you make it a little bit hard, it just takes a lot longer to get the information through, and it can be confusing. So be direct. Are you a male? Yes or no? Simple. Are you male? Yes? No? Female? Yes? Age? Are you under 25? Boom. Are you over 25? Boom. Is your name beginning? Go through the alphabet. Is your name beginning with A, B, C? Can you stop the glass? Boom. Tell them what to do. They might even draw you pictures and all sorts. But you need a few people because of the energy of the glass needs to. But it is quite amazing. And you need to make sure that everybody around is relaxing. Try not to do it with drink and one or another, because all the senses are gone. And this means that you're not in charge, you're not always knowledgeable of what's coming through on the glass. Ouija boards. I'm not against Ouija boards, but unless you're not sure what you're doing, then Ouija boards are just really a portal. Just make a bigger portal. So if you know what you're doing, then they're fine. They're just another tool. But if you don't, but also just sticking a dictaphone out and asking questions. Often when you play it back, you might hear answers. Lights, you might feel lights. There's all sorts of ways to communicate. So don't just think that, you know, if you're not a medium or you're not trained in that field, that you can't do it, because there is. There's plenty of ways to communicate. And obviously if they're letting you know, they obviously think that you can communicate. So you must have some ability, or somebody in the house has ability, or they wouldn't be trying to communicate with you. Sometimes you just need to be in charge. Tell them straight. It's not their house and they need to go. But if there's a lot of emotion attached to them, then you need to help them to go, because this is important. Okay, spirit removal. Now first of all, let's look at spirit removal. I only say spirit removal when it comes to situations that need it, because a lot of the times spirit will go on their own accord if you found the story, but there is times when they need to be removed. Okay, now if for example, one of the family members are acting a little bit ego-based, have changed attitude, low self-esteem, or too ego, or blame others, angry, short-tempered, mood swings, just change their overall approach to them, they could have a spirit attached to them. And so watch out for signs like this, because then if there's one attached to them, then really they need to be removed. Or if you're getting highs and lows, or you're suddenly feeling negative, you need to find out whether you've got somebody that you've met during the day. It could be one of your friends or something is low. Give them a call first before you put it always down to spirit, because it's not always spirit. But if you have got something attached, just the simplest way is just to ask the angels to take away, and you might feel a pulling sensation, and they will take it away. Okay, it might come back, but you will know because you'll feel the difference in you straight away. So that's the quickest way to get rid of anything that's attached to you or attached to your family. Another way is send white light into your head, or send white light into your family. That's another way, because a lot of the times now we're actually given spirits to look after. There's certain occults that actually attach because they can only keep hold of one negative person. And also, if you're being fed a lot of negativity, then you probably can pick up spirits along the way. And going to certain places, especially the paranormal, it's quite easily to do. So always remember, send white light and love into people, and spirits don't like that, so they'll soon try and get away from the person. Never touch the person if you think there's attached, because you're feeding the energy and you're making the spirit stronger. This is more to do with possessions. I wouldn't worry about that at the time. And if you're possible, some people have the ability to actually drag the spirit out of a person, but that takes a lot of protection, and also you must send white light back into the person while you're taking the spirit away. But be careful of touching a person, because too much energy can cause a lot of emotional damage, so you have to be careful on that. Okay, brilliant. But the quickest way and the best way to get rid of spirit is to find a story, and then sometimes a portal will open and you can send them over. Now I would suggest that, because sending them to the light, they really need to be at the right time, and they really need to have cleared the emotion to do this. So I would really look to a professional to do this. You can contact me anytime by my email, bradmonk@hotmail.com, if you feel that the information that's come through that they need to go over, and if I feel it's right, I can help you. But if a portal starts to open, this white Milky Way type thing, then, and you might even see images of other people on the other side, then it could be that it's their time to go. But you will feel a warmth feeling inside you, because this is like you're helping them over and it's the right time. But as I say, this is you really have to know what you're doing to do this, because it's certainly, I've known people trying to go through the light they shouldn't have done, and it can cause a lot of problems. So it is not something that I would lightly do and teach people to do without a few years of training, I must admit. The simplest way, if it's really causing a lot of hassle and you've cleansed all the portals and the ley lines, which we'll get into in a bit, then sending spirit over or moving spirit out of the house, the easiest way is to start at one end of the house and imagine this amazing white light, and at the end I've got you an extra package for free on visualization, so that you can improve your techniques, because the stronger you are at visualizing these energy techniques, the better it is for the place and being able to do it. Now, visualization is a real key to this. So like you did with the blue light, you're going to imagine white light, pure white light, coming from your hands. So imagine it from the source. You can either imagine it from the ground, this white light, or from the sun, whatever coming into your body through your hands, and imagine the white light going into the room, filling the whole of the room and sealing all the windows, all the door frames, the whole of the room, and then you move from one room to another. Now don't forget the attics. Okay, so you need to really know the place, because you've got to go through every room. Don't miss any rooms. Also watch out for mirrors, because if a mirror is in a ley line, then that is also a portal. So just imagine it's sealing all the windows and all the doors and all the inside of the place. Okay, so you move from one room to the other. Okay, so move from one room to the other and go to one area. So what you're doing is you're pushing the spirit into one room so that you can actually deal with it. Okay, that's when you probably communicate with it. That's when you probably help it to move over. And once you've got it into one room, then you need to push it out either through a window or through the wall and then seal it. And that's when you go into the stage of sealing the whole place. But make sure that the white light's in all of the rooms. This will keep the spirit out. The only way they can get back in is if invited, or you have a ley line open, a portal open, which we're going to go through in a bit. So this technique really should be done after you've closed the ley lines. So remember that. But white light is very important because they don't like white light. They don't like pure energy, because pure energy just basically affects them. So even if you want to send love is another one. If you think of unconditional love or a moment in time when you felt love, that's also very strong with white light as well. Anything pure is very good. Protection. Protection is very important, because you're not just protecting yourself, but you're protecting your house and your family. So this section is one of the most, not hardest, but certainly challenging parts, because we live and work in a very negative world where negative energies are all around us, and so it doesn't take much to see, hear, feel and absorb the negativity, and this is then passed on to our homes, and then eventually we attract more, and the cycle is just never ending. So it takes a lot to keep ourselves protected. As most of us are healers and we go through life helping people out, we try and give unconditional love to people and give out lovely energy, and often we then absorb the energies of people, and we also hold on to problems, and we also hide behind the fact that we should just go with the flow. So it is important that we protect ourselves. Meditation is also another way of clearing the chakras. Sitting in nature. There's many ways of protecting, but for your house I shall go through this section for you. The main way of protection is actually sealing the house in white light. Now the way to do that, as you probably have realized with some of the work that we've done before, is that visualization of white light through your hands, going all through out the place, sealing all the windows and the doors, because these are the main areas where spirit will come through. So you need to go by room and seal every window, every door, every mirror with white light. Seal the outside of the place and seal each part as you go from room to room. Also, putting white light around yourself is important when you're out and about. If you've put or imagine a cloak of white light, that is enough. Stepping into a bubble of white light is enough. It's just the energy of the white light which is important. At night times, before you go to sleep, purple light will stop you from being drained, because a lot of us do travel at night astrally when we go to help people as well. So that will stop you from being drained and open to being spirit world communicating. Orange in the morning gives us the energy for the day, and white is the purest form. Try and have that. But if you seal your house regularly with white light, then you will also be stopping yourself from bringing it into the home, which is very important. So I would say that sitting and imagine white light bringing the energies through your body and into your hands and all around the room, as I've been through before. Build the energy up and go from room to room. You can also hold crystals and program crystals in your pocket to protect you through the day. Now, another section I want to talk about is also curses. I get so many phone calls for curses, and it's not an area which I like to go into because there's a lot of bad press about people making a lot of money. All I can say is that curses are negative, and they tend to be that if you feed negative energy, you get negative energy back. So curses work off negative people, negative places, negative situations. So the more your house is cleansed, the more you're cleansed, the more you've cleansed your emotional baggage of what you're holding on to, the more you've cleared your problems out, the less that anything can attach itself to you. Your thought patterns can actually create and make it negative energy embroil even more, make it larger than life, even create bad luck. So it's very important that you don't roll or keep thinking about negative things or that you've been cursed. Also, try and cut the lines of any energy lines where you feel that somebody's psychically attacking you or draining you or sending negative thoughts your way. Everybody that we come into contact with, we have a line attached to them. So send love down that line, but if that line doesn't feel right, then imagine some scissors and cutting the line, because you don't know who's giving you or saying things about you, and so are feeding negative thoughts to you. So all I can say about curses is that if you believe in them, they will happen. If you have a negative home, you can encourage them. If you think negative, you can make them happen more. But if you're positive, if you create a cleansed place, if you protect yourself well, then a lot of times these things can't get through to you unless you carry on with the thoughts. Because even spirit world can actually give you thoughts of negativity. It's what you do with them. You know, if you carry on thinking negative, then you're actually going to add to the situation. Okay. Right then. Remember that you're in charge of your house. You can actually command the spirit to leave your premises. You can protect yourself at all times. And if you want to put yourself in white light when you go around doing your house cleansing, you can do. But I tend to find that if you put yourself in white light, you're not open to actually receiving information as much from the spirit world, because sometimes there might be some low level energies. I've not talked about the real negative energies that could be attached to something that's badly happened in a place, because I don't want to really scare anybody. And also, it tends to be that if the activity is that bad, that you would really have called in probably an expert by now. But if your place is really bad, and I mean to the extent that there's things being thrown about and there's a lot of really negative energy, then I think you should nearly contact me, and it probably would be a home visit that is needed, because nothing is really negative. Nothing can harm you unless you allow it to. I have been into the worst situations and I've seen what negative energies can do, but nothing can harm you unless you allow it. Always remember, you're protected by spirit, and you're protected by your family, and you have a natural protection that is from nature and is from just all around you. It's only you that decide not to be protected. I hope that this has helped you in any way to cleanse your home. If you have any questions, I am only an email away. There's other methods that I have not talked about, like smudging, which absorbs negativity. Salt, you can put on the doors. Music's always good. Salt lamp absorbs negativity. But if your places have unwanted guests, then all these things will disappear in time. And so a regular once a month house cleansing is necessary. But the information I've given you is really for actually getting rid of situations. And nature itself will push a lot of spirit away. But what they will do is they'll try and create situations with you or your friends to bring more negative back into the place, to try and alter it. So that's why sometimes I say sometimes we have to deal with the actual problem at hand and actually get rid of them. Okay, but nothing is bad, because it all teaches us a lesson and probably has opened you up to spirit. Thank you very much. Love and light, Brad Monk.